something like that. That's pretty. I didn't see her in it.
I'm not in the computer
Why?
because I went to St. Louis to see a concert instead of taking my composite.
No, I can't tell you. I think you need to like update it. So it's like what?
Okay, it was a good concert. And then that's what
I was looking around. I was like, I threw it like 6 times. I was like, something's not right here.
not acting.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Just been pretending.
You think they put your name?
Religion has been found in many forms spanning the earth. While the form of religion can vary drastically, one or more is usually present in every country. The abundance and continued presence of religion has led some to ask whether religion is the result of nature or the product of nurture.
Some argue that humans are naturally predisposed to have religious beliefs by virtue of our psychological makeup. The cognitive science of religion is an area of study that examines various psychological patterns of the human mind and how those patterns are related to the universal human tendency to be religious. So Patrick Richmond and Justin Barrett are two writers who have commented on this relationship between human psychology and religious beliefs, and their findings are quite consistent in advocating a natural basis for religious thought. So first, Richmond describes various patterns of the human mind that prime us to believe in some sort of religious being. Intuitive dualism is one of these patterns, and it's basically the ability to make a distinction between the body and the soul. We feel that the mind owns the body, and that even after the body is destroyed, there may remain a quality of the spirit that is still alive. This gives rise to the idea of life after death, making the notion of a spiritual afterlife very attractive and natural to us. Another human characteristic that promotes religious thought is the tendency to see purpose in everything. When we see order arising from disorder, we assume that there is an intentional agent or God at work. When we hear about a religious God that created the world and everything in it with a specific purpose in mind, this idea seems natural to us. With this in mind, it makes sense that the intentional agent has powers that are greater than our own, things like superknowledge and superperception. We are aware of our own limitations as humans, but have no problem understanding religious entities as having more powerful qualities. Justin Barrett also talks about the hyperactive agency detective device, which is the natural human tendency to believe that an unseen agent is responsible for certain patterns we encounter in nature, like sounds, movements, or different patterns. This makes the idea of spirit having caused a certain event more likely, which primes us to see religious beings as being responsible for things we can't explain. Barrett focuses on children in his discussion and claims that, though they aren't inclined toward any particular religion at birth, they are still predisposed to exhibit psychological patterns that prompt religious beliefs. These include the understanding of a being who controls events that occur without a known agent, who also gives purpose to the universe with an intention in mind, and whose powers exceed theirs. These qualities are typical of any religious God. With this in mind, nurture is said to fill in the blanks of these natural tendencies. Because the religious mindset is innate, children already have a framework to work with, so their culture or upbringing plays a large role in determining how that framework is filled with a particular religion.
The teachings of Otto and his concept of a priori knowledge tell us that religion is a natural occurrence. We don't have to see the numinous to know it exists. Whether you're a believer or not, it is clear that religion evokes strong feelings inside of people. These cannot be ignored. Humans are automatically attracted to the holy other and things that don't seem to make sense. It is a sort of natural fascination. All of Berger's theories lean more towards the nurture side. In order to keep out enemy or chaos, humans must externalize ideas that lead to religion. These religious ideas eventually take on a life of their own. Humans then tend to internalize religion until it becomes part of the societal nomos, or ideas which are generally accepted by society. The societies which people have developed to structure the world also take on a life of their own. This dialectic character of society is one that is rarely recognized by most, yet it influences most to teach or nurture their children with religion.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us today on Good Morning Christian America. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Kimberly, an average Christian American. I'm excited to hear what she has to say. Kimberly, let's start with a simple question. We know you are a Christian, but how involved in your Christian faith are you?
I try to go to church the best I can, missing when I'm sick or the kids are sick. And I also go to Sunday school before church and Wednesday evening services. Again, unless the boys have a game or someone's sick. But overall, my church is an extension of my family.
You seem like a very devout Christian. So tell me, Hugh states in his book, Christian America and the Kingdom of God, that the Bible is what defines a Christian. Do you agree with this? What do you think defines a Christian?
I would agree with Hughes because the Bible is the law of the land that God set out for his people, and we should all follow it.
How well do you think Americans follow the Bible?
Well, I think they follow it a lot better than other countries. But is America perfect? No. We're all humans who commit sin.
I think you bring up a great point. Up on the screen is a map of the world and its inflation compared to other Christian nations. There are 14 nations that define Christianity as their national religion and are as follows: Argentina, Bolivia, Costa Rica, Denmark, El Salvador, Greece, Georgia, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Malta, Monaco, Norway, and the Vatican City. Now, take a look at Iceland, all the way up here on the map. It's almost non-existent.
Wow, I had no idea that how inflated America was compared to other countries.
Speaking of America, do you think America should be, by law, a Christian nation?
I think a lot of people in America think that America should be a Christian nation by law. And honestly, before today, I really was one of them. But after seeing that map, I feel like if America were to be a Christian nation by law, then we would lose sight of a lot of what Christianity means to us as a society. Having a law saying that America is a Christian nation would really do nothing unless the people of America actually held that belief.
I think you are correct. We would like to hear from our viewers and hear what they have to say about this matter. Please call in the number listed at the bottom of your screen. That's 1-800-555-GMCA or 1-800-555-4622. When we come back, we will speak to a few of our viewers about whether Christianity should be the religion of America. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the debate channel. Today we have what looks to be a very interesting debate between Reverend Smith from the Church of Christ, and Dr. Hurd, the top teacher and researcher at Harvard University, to discuss their views on science and religion. I am Kristen Miner, and I will be directing this conversation with questions submitted by our audience. The first question was submitted by Shelley S. of Omaha, Nebraska. She asks, what role, in your opinion, does religion play in our society? Reverend Smith, would you please respond first?
The first great thinkers of science, such as Newton, Mendel, and Boyle, believed in an ultimate creator. The list goes on and on. Believing in God of the Bible does not mean that you will not believe science and explore and expand your knowledge in areas of science. It is in our nature to try to discover more of the orderly universe that this God has created. Assuming the creation of the universe by an orderly God, it then makes very much sense that there are scientific laws that govern this world. By saying that society is being held back, you assume some goal that society must reach so that it is more advanced. What are these goals, and where do they come from? Hitler's goal, who believed in social Darwinism, was to have society where the Aryan race ruled while Slavics were slaves. Jews, blacks, and gypsies were holding society back, so they needed to be removed with whatever means necessary. This is how he defined his perfect society. With atheism, you cannot propose that religion holds society back, because you cannot even define what composes a progressive society. Because with your belief system, society is defined by what the populace wants. This is not only dangerous, but it cannot work, because different areas of the world define society and how it should work very differently. Dawkins writes in his book, The God Delusion, that DNA neither knows nor cares. DNA just is, and we dance to its music. So whatever society we want to create, we may, or whatever act we do, we are simply dancing to the genes. I cannot argue for the good of what all religions have done, because not all religions are equal. To lump all religions into one category is unjust, just as it would be unfair to lump all atheists into a category with Hitler, Pol Pot, and Stalin. Modern moderate atheists say that these men were not really atheists. This is all a lie. The communist state was officially atheist, and those who believed in God were martyred for their faith. Matthew Parris writes, now a confirmed atheist, I've become convinced of the enormous contribution that Christian evangelism makes in Africa. Sharply and distinct from the work of secular NGOs, government projects, and international aid efforts, these alone will not do. Education and training alone will not do. In Africa, Christianity changes people's hearts, brings a spiritual transformation. The rebirth is real. The change is good. Christianity has at times been used for evil, but those who follow the teaching of Jesus will be a positive influence on the world and not negative, as Richard Dawkins says.
Religion isn't just holding our nation back, it's hurting it. Coyne did a real study with hard facts and concrete data. Coyne measured characteristics of an unhealthy society, such as crime rate, poverty levels, and overall happiness of its citizens. Guess who came in last place? That's right, the good old US of A. Now, America is also one of the only developed nations to hold on to its religious ties so tightly. Is this a coincidence? I think not.